So we are going to continue on with the gardening journey in the backyard, beautifying the flower bed spaces bit by bit. And today we are going to jump into the shade garden. Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. My garden is located in growing zone 8B and we are in Southeastern North Carolina. I'm gonna show you real quick where we've been lately and then where the shade garden is actually located. And then we're jumping in there and adding in all the plants and different decor items that we have to beautify that space. So just to remind you the lay of the land here, we have the rock garden that essentially extends to the greenhouse pathway. And then we had just done some work along the greenhouse pathway here where the banana tree grove is to kind of get that cleaned up a little bit more. So we have some poolside gardens and some pots over here on this side. And then on the other side is this space where we've been adding color and new plants and new garden decor. This was the wall we built with the new carpets. Now, the shade garden is actually located right here behind my shed. So my shed has this cute little wall that we built, and on top of it are the things that I can put into the shade garden right now if I choose to. So let's take a look at this space and how things are looking at this point. If we were to take a left here and go down this blue boardwalk, that would be the secret garden. That's what I refer to it as because it basically ends up getting to be very secret. As the banana trees grow and other things get tall here just during the season, you don't really get to see that much of the blue boardwalk unless you know that it's there. So it makes it super fun. But instead, if we were to take a right at this spot, this is the shade garden. Now it's morning right now, which is the only time that this area does get some sun. So we have a little bit of light that we're gonna have to deal with today while we're in here. But largely, what I'm interested in doing is refilling up this space to get things rocking and rolling in size and beauty. And last year I had created this wall over here where I have some pots hanging. I have the terracotta pots in these pot holders. And I really filled them up with a lot of Coleus. And so I ended up naming this area Coleus Alley because I had this wall of Coleus as well as these planter boxes of Coleus. And then pots below could really be anything that wants some shade or could be Coleus. Let me show you what we have now, and then we'll start digging into the work as to what we can add. Along the shed wall here, these window boxes stayed out here throughout the winter, and this English ivy that's in here stays evergreen just like this. So I did put a couple pieces of Coleus clippings inside here though, just to get things kicked off. And then this one, same deal with the ivy. We already had that in this planter here. And then I don't know when it was, but we did it together. We added in a couple of pieces of begonias and also a couple of Coleuses that we were just hoping were going to root in here. So we have a little bit of growth, not much, and it's certainly going to be a lot more as this year or the growing season progresses. This one, we added this ivy too, because this planter box last year just had the creeping Jenny as the creeper. So I'm keeping the creeping Jenny that may come back. Whatever comes back is fine. And we also had added in some begonias. This just came from a bigger begonia pot that I have. So I took part of it out of there and put it in here. So we've got a little bit of clipping to do to make that look a little nicer. But besides that, begonias are kind of tolerant of both bit of sun and shade. So I've had these guys living with me for a while and they've done fine either way as I sit here manicuring it, talking to you. We got to get some Coleus rocking and rolling inside these window boxes as well so we can really start to show things off. As for our ground level here, I think I'm going to be cleaning out some of the spare window box planters if I'm not going to use them because it's looking a little junky with the extra stuff that we have going on here. This hosta, I had put him into this pot last year, just kind of set him off to the side. Obviously, he is a shade lover, which is cool. Got a little bit dry back here because of course nothing is hooked up to irrigation at this point, but I may keep the hosta right in a pot like that. I'm not sure. We'll figure that part out. My faux potting station over here, that was just a thrift find that I painted up so it could be cutie. This guy's going to stay here too. It's just a matter of decorating it a little bit with maybe a couple plants or some extra terracotta pots on top of it. My shepherd's hook, this little spot for hanging baskets. I don't have any hanging baskets right now, and the only reason why I had them last year was because I found things on clearance. If I find clearance items again, I'm going to get them for this space. But if I don't, I might just take the shepherd's hook out or find something else to hang on that. That was a fern, and it was a $5 fern. I knew it was not going to be coming back this year. More ivy in case we need it, or we can keep this pot and add something into the back there, like a flower of some kind. And then over on this side, I have a hydrangea that I had bought last year, and he's just in a pot, so that's perfect. Largely, this is just a container garden, except for this purple heart. And I just put that in the ground there because its roots are shallow, and I just had a pot right behind it. Besides that, I'm not really digging into the ground here because of my trees in the back. I have the Leland cypress that line the whole back fence line here. And so I have a lot of tree roots and stuff like that. I don't want to mess with my trees. They are valuable to me. So I'm not going to be digging in the ground. So we are going to just be layering with pots and containers. And the entrance to the secret garden was already done last year, just by delineating it with these little posts that I had cut up as like a mini faux kind of gate fence, if you will. So keeping that all the same. Luckily, the bones of this area are already here, so a lot of the hard work was done previously. So now it's just a matter of, as I said, getting things in here. So let's dig into some of the goodies that I have that can go inside of that shade garden. This is the pot of begonias that I said I basically took a big clump of it out, which you can see in the back because the front is very full still. This is where I got the begonias for that window box. I can take more out if I want to add that to somewhere else, or I can even just put that pot in there for some additional color, whatever, we're going to see. This lantern, which could use a spray paint job, but I'm not going to do that today. This is something that I thought could even hang on the shepherd's hook if I don't feel or I don't find any clearance plants that can be hanging. Also, something I've had is this sweet potato vine, and it's just something you could propagate easily, and I've had, you know, in jars of water basically waiting for me to be able to use it. So this could be a draper even in the terracotta pots in Coleus Alley, so I'm thinking about that. Now this guy right here, let me get you closer to him. This is a succulent that I just had in the greenhouse for the winter, and I believe it's called Mother of Millions. It came from somebody that I know in Florida. Here is the part of it too. Like you can separate it, divide it up. So this is the bird cage that I had thrifted last year, and I started the bar area off here, kind of entering the secret garden that way with the bird cage and that succulent inside of it. So this is just another piece. So I thought that could go inside the shade garden somewhere. He doesn't really have a permanent home besides that. This is a plant that, or a planter that I overwintered in the greenhouse as well. So it's hard to see up here with the sun shining that direction, but we have a cordyline in here. It came with some Coleus. I don't know the name of it because it was just labeled as Coleus. And then the Dichondra Silver Falls draping out of it. So I wanted that to like sit up a little bit higher somewhere so we could appreciate the Silver Falls. And actually, I may just take part of this off of here and use it somewhere else too, because I love it. So let's spread that joy around. Other things that I have. This one is a newbie, a new baby for this year. And I did show it to you in like my rare plant finds video. I included some sun-loving Coleus. So this one is called Terrascape All That Jazz, and it's sun to part shade. So this guy can tolerate some of both, which means he may go to the start of the shade garden where we have a little bit more sun throughout the day than we do as we go into the back. This one here is one of the babies that I kept and propagated and had stored for over the winter. So I think this one is the Terrascape Queen. This guy, so this is real dark foliage with the pink in the middle. So this is Stained Glass Works Flash Bulb. So this one is also going to be a sun or a shade. So he's going to go inside probably in a window box. This one here might pop up into Coleus Alley since he's already in a terracotta pot. He was one from last year and he was just living in the greenhouse. More of the begonias, and remember, you can take stem cuttings of your begonias and root them. That's what this is. These were just stem cuttings that we rooted together a while back as I was taking things out of the greenhouse. Nope, this guy stays here. He's a pool guy, so he's the end of the bar, but he stays right where he is. This chair is a planter, and so obviously it has a little welcome sign, and last year I had it to the front entrance of the shade garden, so I think I'm going to do the same exact thing there. And inside over here, I just forgot to mention these two cutie pies. This was another Coleus that I had inside the greenhouse overwintering. And again, we could take clippings and propagate. This one was one of my purchases though. He's also a Stained Glass Works and he's Presidio, and he's sun and shade. So he is a very cool pattern on his leaves and we can figure out where we want to go with him. So let's get Coleus Alley back up and running. So as I'm looking for the plants that I want to put up into Coleus Alley, I remembered that I had this guy who was another one of my new ones. This is the Main Street LA Rambla 2020. This guy was just in my rock garden because I am spreading my Coleus love around this year, not just keeping it here. And so I had this one just kind of sitting there hanging out waiting to be used somewhere he was not in the ground. So I think I'm going to take him actually and put him up on the wall in Coleus Alley because this was one of my absolute favorites. So that's the plan. It's not that easy to make decisions as to where your favorite Coleus is going to go. This one I think I'm picking for the middle because he's right now the tallest one I have, and this window box is the lowest. Of course, I have some of my ivy that has decided to blow around and reroot in the pot in a different spot, so he's taking up a little precious real estate for my Coleus here. I'm going to try to tuck him down and move a bunch of dirt out of here for this gorgeous guy. And this gorgeous feathery guy, he's also a favorite, of course, because I picked them all, I bought them all. I love every single one of them, but I think he's going to go in the first one because there's so much room over there. Since I have an absolute abundance of lemon coral sedum in my yard, I just swapped out some stuff that was looking scraggly inside my cutie pie planter and filled it up with the lemon coral sedum here. And then this Coleus, this is the one that's the Stained Glass Works Presidio, something like that. He's gonna go here. It'd be awesome if I found something poppy, like something pink that could go right here just to like kind of break up the yellow that's here. So most likely I'm thinking the chair is going to go about here, and we are going to put this guy on it. Something I had done last year was I had 2 pots of Coleus that matched each other also at the entrance point. Let me see. These are smaller pots, so I just don't want to waste the look of the Coleus right here. Let me just see. I have cleared off the bar of all the things that I had sitting here waiting. So I think that's a good sign. That means things have found their place. And already, oh, I wish it was shadier, but I can't wait. I can't wait to show you how things look right now. So let's turn the camera around and see what we've done today. Over here, I like this so very much. This pot is technically, I want to call it part of the secret garden, and then we start going this way for the shade garden. So this is my stars and striped mandevilla, so the red and white striped mandevilla blooms that I'm so very thrilled about, and we're sitting on the red bench right there. Now we have our welcome chair here that's also in the sun, so we are going to start going and enter the shade garden this way. So here is what we got. I did go ahead and leave those 2 pots of Coleus up on the kind of fence wall, if you will, and I just kind of moved the wood underneath it so that the heights were about the same so it could be a little bit more stable. And so for down here, we're looking at it like this. So that part of it is awesome. I forgot to mention totally that this canna lily in the pot here is going to a friend. So that kind of was just stored here for the winter. Okay, going over onto this side, this is what we've got in our window boxes so far. So you know we've planted those up. This is the pot wall on Coleus Alley so far, so that's looking awesome. These spots down here are ready to rock if I do find other things that I want to plant up. I used to have a bench over on this side last year that held some pots up higher to continue on with the Coleus wall, so I could definitely do that. I put the pot of begonias on the bistro chair, and I just kind of tried to muss it around a little bit so it could fill in a little more, and we have the sweet potato vine draping out. So that's our couple of items on the bistro table itself. And I think I'll just look for a piece of decor that could go right there in the front so we got some color. Temporarily, our lantern is going to hang right there, and our faux potting station, which turned out to be quite useful today for potting, is now looking like this. And of course you saw me divide up the hosta to put into a couple of these pots. Why not? That's what we have. Our view looking out at the secret garden from here. So I need one more main Coleus to go in the center of this guy's window box here, and we are rocking and rolling. It feels awesome to get ourselves back into the shade garden again. So little by little, all of these garden beds that are attached to each other or near each other are all coming together. Thank you guys for being a part of this journey. I hope you learned a little something while we were doing this work today. Definitely follow My Carolina Garden on social media for more garden inspiration and ideas. And until next time, you guys, happy planting.